Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Waller's Wallet, and I want to talk about some, I would call it disappointing news coming out about United Redemptions, specifically for their partner airline. So we'll talk about this, what it means for you, and why I think this is a blow as well for Chase Ultimate Rewards and really what they need to kind of do to kind of gain back on this. But first, if you're new to the channel, this channel is all about credit cards, credit card rewards, and showing how you can use your points and miles to travel for less. So you're new here, consider subscribing, hitting that bell notification. Also, consider giving the video a thumbs up. It does help the channel out, bring people into live streams as well. Also, I'll be doing some Q&A. So if you want to leave some comments with your questions, I will answer those as well. Now, if you remember back in April, I know I covered a bunch of other people did as well. United announced that they were going to be moving to dynamic pricing for their award flights on their metal, which sucked. Let's be honest, it sucked, but we really knew it was coming because that's really the way programs are shifting for their members. It prevents oversized values. So you're not getting like 8, 9, 10 cents per point. It's easier for members because let's face it, award travel is difficult. I mean, I see it when people questions. Award travel is very difficult. But the good news at the time was that they were saying that these changes weren't going to come to their partners, at least right now, and that they were still, and their partners were still going to be held to an award chart. Well, I guess United had like a change of heart and decided to change their mind. And I guess would really say not tell anyone, because they made an update on their website that says the partner award chart will remain in effect through travel of November 14th, 2019. For travel on or after November 15th of 2019, there may be flights that require a higher number of miles than the amount indicated on the award chart. You'll see this when you're booking, and you'll see this in the applicable award travel. So they're making their partners dynamic, and I think this definitely hurts for their program. So that means like if you were to book now before that, you might get some decent value out of it still. Because when I was looking at a handful of routes before I went live, I haven't seen any dynamic pricing after the November 15th timeframe. Now, I did see comments in forums that people are starting to see this on certain routes. There was only a handful of these. So I'm sure we're going to see more of these as they come up, but we'll just have to wait and see. It's inevitable. Now, I think it really sucks they're going dynamic for the partners. I do think that it was to be expected at some point, just as we see other airlines moving dynamic. I think the bigger issue I have with all of this from United is the fact they said partners initially would be held to a standard award chart and that there were no changes planned at this time. But then they silently, without mentioning a word about it, decided, I guess, that this would be changing. And I think that's the bigger issue here, because I think we can adapt to changes. We can adapt to, just program changes in general, these dynamic pricing, lack of availability. We can adapt to that. But the fact of that they were kind of, I would call it being deceptive and not doing this really hurts them. And that being said, as the it would have just been great had they given us that notification for that. Now, I will mention to people that United has mentioned currently that the excursionist perk is not being touched. Now, I would be lying to you if I said I don't think it's going to go away at some point. I'm sure United is going to nerf that at some point in the future. My guess is probably in the next year or so, just because if you look at Delta, they don't offer any sort of perk like that. American doesn't offer a perk like that. And for those programs, that definitely is it's a good benefit from United. But I can tell you, I was actually doing award flight searching for myself because we're thinking about going to Taiwan next year. And I just happened to be searching one ways, but I was maybe thinking about using the excursionist perk to see another area over in Southeast Asia. And when I went to go to round trip, the flight I found for the business class seat that I just found on one way was no longer there. Now, I know I can call in, I can probably feed these to the reps, and they can do that. The issue with that is, though, that not everyone knows that. Not everyone is into this game as in-depth as probably some of we are. So they're going to look at it and say, oh, there's no space, and they're going to move on from it. So if that is held true, and I've seen that a couple times with United, then really they're kind of devaluing that excursionist perk because they're reducing the availability for people to see the availability for flights, which means they reduce the excursionist perk, which really devalues it. So I wouldn't be shocked if they nerfs it in the next year or so. So really, how does this affect you? Because if you're someone who's into the ultimate reward ecosystem, this definitely, I think, hurts because if you look at Star Alliance for Chase has United and they have Singapore Airlines. Now, and United was great because their award pricing wasn't the best at certain first spots, but the big draw was that one, they're easy to earn because of ultimate rewards, and two, they didn't pass on fuel surcharges to other customers. Now, Singapore Airlines is decent for a handful of options. They're not going to be a staple, though. They're not a staple for you to book award flights. So that really hurts because now there's a huge hole there for Chase. Like, you no longer have a staple Star Alliance program because United, like, if you want to think about this like American Express and Delta. So with American Express, you have Delta as a partner, but Delta is very situational now. You look at Delta you look more for Virgin Atlantic or for Flying Blue, but you really only move your points when you find like a killer deal, maybe on a flash sale, or if you're topping up an account. You don't book Delta for right off the bat. You look at the other programs, and that's what now is becoming of United. And so when you look at these, if you're into that Star Alliance system and you like flying Star Alliance, you really probably want to start looking more into Avianca or even Aeroplan. ANA can be good for potential flights as well. So if you're someone who's really invested in the membership or in the Ultimate Reward program, then you're going to probably want to start looking at programs like Membership Rewards because they have Avianca, ANA, and Aeroplan. Thank You Points have Avianca, and so do the Venture program. Now, on that note, I did post in my Facebook group an image of it, but Avianca is currently offering a 15% transfer bonus when you transfer points from your Membership Reward account over to Avianca. Not the best transfer bonus we've seen, but it definitely helps out if you have an upcoming stay or upcoming flight you're wanting to do this. So, not only does Chase need to bring someone else in, they also need to bring in some better partners as a whole, because once this goes into effect, Chase's partners have just really been taking a hit. And right now, at this moment, that really leaves Hyatt as their solid transfer partner. And I know we talk about this and like Hyatt is really good, but there's only so long you can really cling on to that. Like, they're great, but if you're not getting great value or you can get better value for airline miles with Membership Rewards, I've already said I believe Citi Thank You Points are better for airline transfer partners. And you know what? While it might not be a one-to-one, Capital One's got some really good partners as well. Southwest, you can book it, through the 1.5 cents through the portal. JetBlue, you can earn everywhere. Avios, you can get with a bunch of different programs. Virgin Atlantic, you can get somewhere else. Like, there's nothing holding you really to Chase outside of the one they're super easy to earn and use through the travel portal. And Hyatt, like, you have to start thinking they have to bring someone in, because Hyatt, I think I have no inside information to this. I really think Hyatt is due for some sort of devaluation in the near future. Now, the reason why I say that is if you remember the video I did on like hotel point values, Hyatt was like more than double the next program, which was Marriott. And then Marriott's got their own issues, but we're just talking point values here. So if Hilton or Hyatt were to devalue their points, 25%, you're still better off than Marriott. It hurts us, but they're still a valuable program. And Hyatt has just been so good for so long. As you see everyone else moving to higher and more inflated award charts, how long are they going to hold out on that? They've been doing that for a long time. It's a great program, but Chase is legitimately, like, I feel like hinging on this because they're just super, like, I've said it before, Chase Ultimate Rewards are a great program to get you into the game, but then you realize if you want more, if you're into learning the transfer partners, I don't think they're that special. I just don't. So it'll be really interesting to see what Chase does with them. But Chase needs something. They lost Korean. They brought in JetBlue. That's not equivalent. If they basically, like, United's now out, you can't. What are you going to do? Add Spirit Airlines and Frontier to this? Like, you need to come with something, Chase. A Japan Airlines, Alaska would be great. I mean, we're not even talking about the Alaska American Airlines partnership that's ending next year. That's huge. American Airlines has had a huge hit recently with LATAM being no longer there. And now with Alaska not there. So just a quick thought about that. In one of the videos a while back, I talked about if you were going to use Singapore Airlines to fly to Hawaii on Alaska Airlines, you would use AA to search the availability. It's to be easy. That's no longer going to be an option after, what was it, like March 1st, February, at the end of February, early March next year. Um, so you're going to have to start searching over Alaska. So this hurts American as well in that partnership. But, what does Chase do? How do they rebound from this? Because they're really hinging, like, I feel like their entire program right now on Hyatt. I might be in the minority of this. Let me know what you think. What do you think about this? Because this is I think this is pretty big news over here. So while you guys think that, I'm gonna look to see if I have any questions going on over here. Let's see. What's up, Dolly? How you doing tonight? Hey, yes, if you're here, hit the thumbs up button. Thank you, Dolly, for giving everyone that heads up. I appreciate it. Thank you, Joseph, for showing up here. You're always here to support the channel. I appreciate that. Icarus has a phobia of like buttons. That's okay. Icarus, you're here. That means enough to me. Jason, let's see. Or Jackson says, he hadn't heard anything about the United change. Yeah, that's because they didn't put anything out there for you, man. Like it just was not known. I think it was found on I think it was like some FICO forum. So let's see. I also asked before the live if people wanted to see some travel, like review of some travel products that I use. One being like my travel suitcase I just recently got for my last trip. I'll be using it for my trip that I leave for on Friday. Been by far been my favorite bag to date. And I think it'd be worth a review, but let me know if you're into that. What's up, Scott? How you doing? Let's see. Joseph asks, break down those who don't know, what does dynamic award pricing mean? So that's a great question, Joseph. So if you don't know, if you want to take a look at different programs, let's look at a program like Aeroplan right now, which they're going to be changing in 2020. But for the moment, they have a standard award chart. You can type in, go to Google, put Aeroplan award chart, and you're going to go ahead and see that it's going to be, 12,500 miles for a domestic flight one way here in the US, 25,000 points for business class, and you're going to see like 55,000 points one way for business class to Europe, and it's standard. That's what you're going to get. So you can plan out your reward. Like you're planning for a family of 4, you can plan. Dynamic pricing is more tied to the price of a ticket. So think of programs like Southwest or JetBlue. Southwest can be a great airline when you see these $49 sales, but you go to like holiday times and their tickets are $400, $500, $600. They're a terrible use of your points, and that's really what we're seeing more of. And the reason why is, ask somebody about Southwest. Why do people like Southwest points? They're just so easy to use. You log on, you can book a ticket. You're not dealing with blackout dates. You're not dealing with any sort of games that airlines play with releasing availability based on fare class or anything like that. So for the general population, dynamic currency is easier to understand, but it's not as great value. That's why you see Delta miles right around that like 1.1 cent to 1.2 cents per point on average, or 1.3. You can occasionally get better value, but you're kind of in that ballpark. You're not getting 5 cents per point really for Delta miles anymore. That's really what dynamic is, just more closely tied to the cash price as opposed to get a standard award chart. What's up going on, Icarus? Cashback is king. If you're someone who flies coach, cashback is not a bad option as these programs move. I'm big into earning big bonuses for my sign-up points. I'm in earning points for my my big bonuses, but I earn cash back on the day-to-day just because they work better for me. Like I book my travel the way I want to. If I want to fly a coach or business class, I have enough points in my banks for those, and I just go that way. But for the general person, if you're looking to fly coach, which I've asked a few times in the community tab, and a lot of you do, the fares to Europe and even Asia, across the US, they've been relatively low to where you're getting good value for cashback or through those travel portals. Let's see. Brian says, knew something like this had to be coming after all the positive United changes. Yeah, it's unfortunate this is going on, unfortunately. Let's see. Yangeta says, which points would I use to travel to New Zealand? That's a loaded question. It depends on where you're flying to, like where you're flying from, if you're willing to reposition, how many points you have. For me, I'm looking at probably more like membership rewards. If you could book sooner, you might get some decent value out of United miles beforehand to New Zealand. And, you might even do better off by flying into Sydney and then flying like a short hopper over to Auckland to Auckland. So it'd be a shorter flight there, but you might do better off flying into Sydney, but it all depends on what you're going on there. What's going on, Flashpoint? How you doing, man? Sit down, Chase. That's good. Let's see. I hope Hyatt doesn't make any changes. Yeah, Flash, I agree. I hope they don't. They're a great program. I was actually just finishing up I just finished shooting it. I got to send it off to my editor though. A Hyatt Chase or a Hyatt Hilton comparison in programs, and I won't. Hyatt's just so good. They're just so good. I hope they don't make changes, but they very well could. Let's see. Casey says, I heard World of Hyatt is ran by former FPG executives. Wouldn't be surprised they did another devaluation. Yeah, I don't know about who's running it, Casey, but if that's the case, one thing SPG did well is that they had a really good program, and their points were valued pretty high. So they could be coming a devaluation. I'm hoping not, but we'll have to see. Joseph says, I don't know why people love Chase so much. I think it's a couple of things, Joseph. One, I think with their 524 rule, it's important to get your Chase set up first because the bonuses are so big. You can do a lot with those bonuses. And if you're someone who's just looking to travel for simplicity, the Sapphire Reserve is a great card. Like I know I give it a hard time, but like it is a good card for someone who's just getting into the game. And for Hyatt, I mean, you're just not going to get a better value for hotels than Hyatt, but that's about it, I think, really. Let's see. What's going on, champ? How you doing? Are thank you points more valuable for flights than ultimate rewards after this? Michael, I think it depends on how you redeem. If you're someone who looks to transfer points for premium class seats, I think so. You got Asia Miles over there. You got Avianca over there. You still have Flying Blue and Virgin Atlantic. The thing that with Chase that City doesn't have is a better ecosystem. And Chase, and I think thank you points have done all right with this. The double cash now earning 2x. You have the rewards plus, so you get that, the round up to 10 points. They just don't have that 5x category like you get with like the Chase Inc. Cash to kind of merge these all together. But for like a simple rotation, the Premier and double cash is a pretty decent 2-card rotation. And if you're willing to spend the big money, although on the Prestige, even with all these cuts, 5x on airfare and 5x on dining is pretty solid too. So for airfare, I definitely think so. What's going on, Alberto? How you doing, man? Edgar, hello from Miami. Thanks for joining from Miami. How's the weather down there? It's up here in Maine, I think it was like 50 degrees today. I'm hoping it's warmer for you down there. What's going on, Lionel? Should we book award travel mileage plus before devaluation? Dan, if you have award travel you're looking to do, I would look to probably burn these miles first. As long as it's within reason. I wouldn't go burning extra, like a ton of extra points, but I am sitting currently on about 80,000 United miles. I'll be burning those for my trip probably in January, even if it costs me just a little bit more, because for a while I sat on Delta miles for a while, like because they didn't expire. Now United miles aren't going to expire either. But yeah, I'm going to burn them and try to get better value from them. So if you have travel coming up, I would definitely look there. Let's see. Flashpoint says, did you happen to see American Express is offering 4x at Sam's Club through December 31st? Pretty good for those who shop at Sam's. Absolutely. I did see that when I popped in today, Flash. So if you do shop at Sam's Club, Flashpoint makes a great point. See Flashpoint, see what I did there. If you shop at Sam's Club, definitely take a look there. There were a couple offers too for Staples, 2,500 membership reward points or $25 back after $100 spend. Check your Amex offers for those. Also, Chase offers had like 10% back up to, I think it's like up to $6 or $60, something like that. $6, I think it is. So, I'll be using those to help reset my Airbnb gift card portfolio. I've burnt through all of that this year, so I need to re-up on that. Let's see. Alberto says, don't you prefer cash back? How would one decide what's best? Blue Cash preferred at 6% groceries. Why use anything else that offers less net if it don't hit the max? So that's a good question. Alberto. So in the categories, like when it's Chase 5X, so when you hit the 6% category for the Blue Cash preferred, if you're only using that for groceries, it has that $95 annual fee. So even if you're going to max it out, when you take into account that annual fee, it comes to like, if I remember correctly, it's like 4.4% if you're maxing out the category after you take into account the annual fee. So it's still really good, but when you have like a Chase Freedom 5% on groceries, even if you maxed out, you're still going to do better with that 5%. I think a long time ago when IGTV was starting, I think I did like a short thing on this, like when 5% is greater than 6%. Because in those situations, while you're earning 6%, when you take into account that annual fee, you are earning less than 6%. not a bad option. I mean, we're talking small amounts here, but if you're someone who's into these different flexible currencies, 5x ultimate reward points would be, or even 5% cash back in that short-term quarter situation might be better for you. But yes, I do. I do typically do cash back for myself. I mean, my altitude reserve has been getting a ton of use. I think last month I earned like 12,000 altitude reserve points. Thank you, Justin, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. I thank you for tuning in and supporting the channel. It means a lot. Without you guys here supporting it, the channel is not a whole lot. So I appreciate everyone coming in. But no, my altitude reserve is getting a lot of use. My Freedom's going to get some use this quarter, as well as my Discover card, Amazon. I'm going to get some good use out of that as a whole. So definitely worth looking into those situations too. Let's see. Amex, let's see. How do you feel about Casey asks, how do you feel about American Express going to raise more annual fees across the board? I feel like the Aspire and Brilliant will eventually be $550. Casey, I think you raised an excellent point. So I don't know. I'm sure all of you saw this. I'm sure all of you who subscribe here subscribed to Sebastian or Ask Sebi. He had like a prediction or like his predictions for American Express. And I think he really hit the nail on the head here. American Express is really starting to shift from like this mid-market to really higher end people who are, either a higher net worth or people who are willing to spend a lot of money on these cards. And you're seeing that, we're seeing the fees raised across the board. A couple of years ago, the gold card was $195. Now it's $250. The platinum card went from $450 to $550. The business platinum, we're just seeing all these cards shift up. Really, I think, and I agree with him, trying to filter out these people who aren't able to keep up. And I think it's because they're trying to protect themselves. So I agree with Sebi on that one. But I do agree with you. I think the Aspire is probably the best valued credit card out there. Now I know people will be like, but you can get all these extra points with membership rewards. There's just so much value that comes from the Aspire. I would not be shocked if it hit $550 in the next year or so. It's just so good. There are a few other changes I think that are coming. Maybe that's worth a video edit on its own for the Aspire card. But I feel like there's a few things that could happen to the Hilton program with American Express, because even the Surpass card, I think it gives oversized value for just that $95 card. I mean, what other card out there do you know gives you 10 priority pass lounge accesses or passes for $95? Gold access, I've been on the record saying this and I'll say it again. Hilton Gold is the best mid-level hotel status out on the market. And, it's just, and you get those free night certificates with the programs. You can spend up in the good multiplier. So a lot of value. I wouldn't be shocked if something changed there. Let's see. SDA says, hey, Waller, other than calling over the phone for your points to convert to 1.5x, do you have any tips for cruisers? So if you're looking to cruise, SDA, then I would be looking at a card like, the Capital One Venture card. The Barclay Arrival Plus is no longer, I think, open to applicants right now. You have cards like the Bank of America Premier Rewards, which is a $500 bonus after a $3,000 spend. Cash back might be beneficial for you there. I did have Joe Chung on he was talking about Disney cruises, just in general. But, Citi thank you points, 1.25 cents per point. When you redeem your thank you points, you have to call into the cruise line. You can do that as well. So for cruises, you have that. Those tips there. I think I did a tip a while back about some cruises. I mean, I was like a good over a year ago, video on that. So, there's some other good websites using the travel portal to earn percents back, and trying to take advantage of those onboard credits. Let's see. Champ says, at this point, is my girlfriend wasting a 524 slot on United? It's between them or Hyatt. I'm bigger on the fact that hotel credit cards give better long-term benefit. And if you're not booking, first of all, the airline you have to book your flight with United to get the free checked bag benefit. With the devaluations coming, it's going to be similar to like the American Express Delta Gold card. You're going to keep it basically for the priority boarding. And now you have to pay for it on the United card to get that free check bag anyway. So personally, if it's me, I'm going Hyatt because I like the category 1 through 4 certificate every year. And if you're someone who really likes to stay there, you can pay up. You can spend $15,000 a year on it and get a second category on that as well. What's going on, Fernando? How you doing? All right, let's see. What's going on, Mark? How you doing tonight? Let's see. If you can meet minimum spend, how often should you apply for another American Express or Chase card? So, Alberto, on that one there, it's a great question. If you can hit the minimum spend, American Express has a rule for credit cards. You can get one credit card every 5 days, but a max of 2 every 90. I did a video recently on their application rules. Chase, I have one coming out in another couple. I think it might be coming out Friday. I think it's Friday. Maybe Friday. I don't know. I think it is. But with Chase, it really, depending on who you talk to, you get different answers. Chase has like this written, like you can get 2 cards in a 30-day period. I definitely don't recommend that for people because Chase has been quite difficult and becoming quite stingy on this. I typically don't recommend more than one every 30 days. Some people say that's a little too aggressive. I've yet to see any ill effect from people getting shut down from this. But if you're really worried about it, I'd go like 1 Chase card every 60 or every 90 days. I wouldn't go for the 2 cards in a day. You know, some people still try that. They got rid of the double dip. Not worth it there in that sense. But American Express charge cards, you can get them, you know, with the same time. No limit there. But yeah, that's a pretty. Those are the time spans I would go. Let's see. Hyatt is champ. Hilton points are so easy to get though. That's the dilemma, Michael, right? Easy to earn, more value. That's the dilemma a lot of people have. But I think there's a couple of things with Hyatt that could potentially give it an edge over Hilton. But Hilton, man, my Hilton Aspire has been like, they've been treating me really good with that diamond status. I still have Amex cards, but the price creep is just going up. Yeah, Casey, that's exactly what they're doing. They're creeping up. You know, I was trying to find the numbers. I couldn't find it when I was doing a quick search. But the one thing that it was shocking to me, and I mentioned this, I know other people too, like, well, the Delta Gold, for example, use that. It's only going up $4, right? And people are like, nah, I can hold that card for $4. I still get my check bags. I still get priority boarding. If Delta, let's say, has 1 million people who hold that card, that $4 raise just it goes up $4 million in revenue for them, or American Express, however they split that, $4 million in revenue extra. And for most people, they might be like, it's no big deal. But you start talking about some of these other cards, it goes up, and you start basically like weeding out the people who are holding the cards just for maybe some benefits that you're like, okay, it's not necessarily worth it anymore. So it is just really, they're creeping up, definitely for sure. What's going on, David? How you doing? So I agree with Stubby's prediction. I have the gold in the old SPG. I've been holding out to get the platinum for 100,000 point offer. However, I'll doubt I get it. Crossing my fingers. David, it's out there. You can still get the 100,000 point platinum offer if you open American Express cards. Definitely worth keep trying for it. Incognito browser, the card match, tool is really good, and keep a lookout for those. Thanks for looking for Hilton. Hey man, Hilton's been good to me. Hilton, I think you're not getting oversized value for Hilton points, but I've had good experiences. David, I agree. Hilton Gold is best mid-tier. I'm a Hyatt globalist, but consider signing up for the Hilton card for the gold status. It's just so easy. Hyatt globalist, you get treated extremely well. A couple of years ago, I status matched over to Hilton Diamond when they had that, like, it was like a glitch and a loophole, and they were basically like having everyone come over. And Hyatt Diamond was amazing. And, they just treat everyone so good. But Hilton Diamond, it's awesome. I get treated really well. And it's just so easy. Even Hilton Gold, just so easy to get. Let's see. What are PenFed Pathfinder points worth? So that's a good question. That is a video I wrapped up too, sent off to my editor. But on the average, you can get them for up to 1.25 cents for hotel use, about 0.9 cents for airfare, about 0.85 for gift cards. And depending on where you are in the earning rates for them, if you have a bank account with them, you get increased multipliers as well. So hotels are really going to get the best bang for your buck when it comes to PenFed Pathfinder points as a whole. So that's where I would take a look at those, but that's really where you're going to get it. You still get a good rate of return for airfare, although it's less than 1 cent per point when you think of the multipliers. But hotels are definitely the good ones there. All right, let's see. Um, doing my homework here with the little one. Braveheart, what are you studying? Let us know down what are you doing your homework for? I'm good, Braveheart. Thanks for asking. Thanks for showing up here while you're doing homework. I appreciate it. Um, let's see. Alberta says, would adding kids 18 authorized as 8 authorized to give them a better opportunity for better cards. I mean, Alberto, I think what you're asking if they're 18 years old, adding them, if you add them, it's going to help boost up their credit scores and give them some history along the way. With American Express, you can start adding them as soon as 13, 13 or 15. I think it's 13. Let me know if I'm wrong. I think it's 13 now. And it's going to help them increase that credit score and give them opportunities later on, as opposed to starting from ground zero at like 18, 19, or 20. It does help. I plan to do that with my little guy upstairs, and adding him on at some point to start building his history as well, so he can boost off that. Plus, he's got to learn how to use these points to fly himself. I mean, he lays on our lap. He's cute and everything, but he's got to earn his way to these flights. Let's see. That diamond status is amazing. I've been for at least 4 times this year. Yeah, Travel Invest. It is. What other card gives you that? There's nothing there. It's just so good. It's just fantastic. It's while Globalist might be better, it's just so easy to get diamond. All right. With Joseph says, with changes to United, would you say Chase United might be making changes to their cards like the Delta cards? That's an interesting question. I know that United was unhappy. I know we talked about this like a while back, that United was unhappy with Chase with the reserve. We could see something coming. I think with Delta refreshing the Delta cards, we could see United doing something along that lines, because as we see programs, I've been pretty consistent on this. When we see programs going to these dynamic values, at some point they're all going to be worth roughly the same. At some point it's service. The service is going to differentiate, and maybe the benefits you get from their credit cards. And so I think we're going to see them update that. I wouldn't be shocked if we see you maybe added to I wouldn't be shocked if we see United add like some sort of low complimentary upgrades to their top tier United card, just like we saw United or Delta do with the reserve. Although I don't think that benefit is, people were talking about it. I've seen a lot of people talking about that comment. It's not as good as it sounds, in the sense that you're competing with people who have status, and Delta now lets you pay with your points to upgrade to premium class. And I don't know if you follow certain people on Twitter, but there's some people who fly United consistently who are like really high ranking people who are losing out to people who are paying out. So it looks good on paper. I don't think it's as good as what it sounds like. So I'm curious to see how it works in practice. But I think it's just something to fill up a benefit on there, which American Express is great at doing, and not have a lot of actual true benefit. Let's see. Favorite music. Oh, that's a good question, Chris. So it depends. I've been listening to a lot of SoundCloud to find out different music for the YouTube channel, which that's been really great. Kind of like some more upbeat stuff. I do like, some hip hop rap music. I'll listen to country every now and then. And then, every once in a while, listen to some Ed Sheeran. So it's a mix. Prince is pretty good too. So we like listening to Prince and Jack Johnson. Those are some good ones for us. So I kind of listen to a little bit of everything, I would think. All right, you can add authorized users to 13 years old. Thank you, Dolly, for letting me know that. So that's a great way to add. Not only can you add them and get their credit going, if you add them to American Express card, give them their own sign-on. They can also get some American Express offers and you can start benefiting from them there. So let's see. Flashpoint says, let's see, Hilton Gold is nice. What do you think about the $15,000 to earn that free night? If you're someone who is going to stay at Hilton's to begin with, it's a decent, the multipliers on the card are actually not too bad. And the free night is restricted to the weekends, but it's no category. So you can get really good value and benefit from it, but it's going to be that Friday to Sunday time frame. So, I personally wouldn't spend $15,000 on it, but if you're someone who stays there, I know people who do spend $15,000 on it and they enjoy it. They get that category certificate and it's fantastic. So it depends on your travel goals. Let's see. You're doing third grade homework with your daughter. I that's I'm curious. I'll be doing that, I guess, in a handful of years when when my little guy gets older. I don't feel like I remember anything from like school age stuff. So it'll be interesting to like relearn how like he's going to be doing math and whatever they're doing nowadays. David says Chase Ultimate Rewards having taken a bit of a dive as late, losing Korean, now United Dynamic Pricing. Who could Chase add to move the needle? Alaska, Turkish, American. So Turkish has been interesting to me. I've seen a lot of people talking about Turkish, and I think they're talking about Turkish for the Hawaii loophole. And it's great. Like that's a great benefit, but like it's got some other uses as well for some niche uses, but it's not a widespread staple for Star Alliance. So I don't think Turkish would be anything spectacular. I think people would be like, it'd be great they could use it for Hawaii. Alaska would be out of the park. If they could nail Alaska, people would, I think, forgive them for so much. American would be good, but I think if American would more realistically be with a Citi or Barclay, more with Citi because they have their the credit card with them. Other programs, Japan Airlines would be great to see. They have a decent program as well. And I started thinking about other airlines. It's not talked about. They pass on fuel surcharges, but they do have some good, some decent sweet spots. Is Asian Airlines. I think that would be beneficial, but that would be beneficial for only a handful of people. But they are Star Alliance as well, and you can get some good value there. Let's see. Referral bonuses for your kids. So that's your plan. Absolutely, David. Kid's got to earn his keep here. And we would need to keep traveling, so he needs to earn us some points somehow. I'd love for them to add Japan Airlines. That would be great, David. I think so. Prince and Jack Johnson, baby. Thanks, champ. What's been my best trip to date using points? Well, oh man, that's a good question because all the trips I feel are awesome. Hawaii was great because I got to take my mother-in-law to Hawaii, which that was like a travel bucket list item for her. So it was great to be able to cross that off the list. So like being able to use our points to get her to Hawaii and one experience Hawaii was outstanding. And Hawaii was great. If you haven't been yet, it's super easy to get there with your points because it's pretty inexpensive with points. Beautiful island. I know David from Wise Flies is there right now. He's enjoying it. I think I saw his video today. He's on Oahu. Lucky guy. So that was pretty good. Budapest was amazing. That was my first trip out of the country, like my first real trip, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, was our first like real international trip. And that trip has just stuck with me. Best use of point, like that was our best, I think one of my favorite trips to date. Didn't do anything spectacular. We actually flew Lufthansa via United Points on an open jaw ticket because we flew back out of Prague. And it was fantastic. I love Budapest. That's probably one of my favorite ones. Let's see. Taru says, what can I do with $700 in American Airline gift cards? You could book American Airline flights. You can liquidate them through some of these third-party sellers. You're not going to get a great return on them, I believe, unless you're like a bulk seller. I'd probably book myself a flight. $700. There's some, there's some decent flights out there to book that with. So me, selfishly, I'm booking flights with it. Let's see. Sean says, what do you think is the best airline credit card at the $95 point range? So I'll even include $99 on this one, Sean, because of the gold. The better benefit, I think you're probably going to depend on which airline you fly. But if you're looking at an airline like that for a card, I would probably either go American or Delta just because you don't have to use the card to get the priority boarding and free checked bag. I know United, they have a couple benefits, but I don't think it's that great because you have to book it on the card for your free check bag. And so I'm thinking of other credit cards too. Alaska would be fantastic. Alaska's a great credit card. Their points are probably the most valuable points out on the market. So that is a great card as a whole. You get the companion pet certificate with it. You get a sizable bonus on it. It's a really good card. And for someone who can utilize their partners to fly premium cabins, I mean, you can fly 50,000 Alaska miles one way, business class, with a stopover to Asia, which is just fantastic. So I'm going to probably go Alaska. I think Alaska's going to be that one there. Let's see. Dolly says, I'm looking forward to hanging out with the Hilton Hawaiian Village with your diamond status. Absolutely. So Dolly, I would tell you to, once you get there, get away from Waikiki Beach. There are so many beaches there, and they're all public. I don't think there's any private beaches, I was told, on Waikiki. Like, get out of Waikiki. I thought the sand was a little bit hard there. Beautiful beach. We saw sea turtles swimming in the ocean. It was great. But definitely go outside, like to the north side of the island, and get away from Waikiki. There's fewer people. There's some really good shaved ice out there as well. So definitely worth doing that. So I don't think I have any more questions. Any other questions out there? If not, we will call it a good night. All right. I don't see what's going on here. Let's see. 69 people. Yeah. So, tell me, what do you think of the United making changes to their partner award here? Do you like it? Do you even care? Does it change your flights at all? I know I need to burn 80,000 points here because I need to get rid of my United miles. That's either going to be used for Taiwan next year or possibly looking back over to Europe. Looking to go to Bucharest, Romania next year? I'd like to even go to Poland, so I might book some trips doing that way. Let's see. Okay, Alberto says, targeted offers aside, is it best to collect UR and MR points simultaneously or offset every year? So Alberto, that's another good question. So usually what I would tell people is what points are going to get you to the next travel goal, and kind of flip-flop between them. If you have enough points for your airline and you want to fly Hyatt and you want to stay at a Hyatt, I would shift over to Ultimate Rewards. If you're not really caring about that and you want to just fly premium cabins, or you just want to fly in general, I would look at which point system is going to do the best for you, because it really just depends. If for transfer points, membership rewards, I think are better for airlines, hands down. I really don't think it's that close. But if you're looking for maybe that uplift from that 1.5 cents per point with the reserve, maybe book yourself a hotel through the travel portal, maybe an excursion through the travel portal, then Ultimate Rewards, then I would look Ultimate Reward points. It's just kind of what points should you, what points do you need to fill up to make your travel happen? Let's see. Icarus says, why fly? I just walk. I know, Icarus, you don't like to travel, man. That's cool. Like, you have your bunch of cashback cards, and you got some good cashback cards. But if there was a better train system in the States, I would definitely take the train. But Amtrak doesn't quite fit the bill for me. Let's see. Travel Invest says, I just use all my United miles to Angola. Used up most of my points. There you go. Earn and burn those points. Let's see. You should do a video discussing the most common benefits. Let's see. Whoa. Thank you, Joseph, for the super chat. I really appreciate that, man. And I thank you for tuning in to the channel, being active in the Facebook group, and just being super supportive. So, and Joseph was the first person to buy Waller's Wallet merchandise. So thank you very much for that too. Like that was really awesome. Let's see. Casey says, many success story getting into the credit card game. Helped my credit score so much. I refinanced my student loan from 6 to 4%. That is fantastic, Casey. A couple years ago, my wife and I, we had student loans. We paid them off, but when we did this, we actually refinanced with SoFi. I don't remember how they pronounce it. So we refinanced them, and we saved a lot of money based on our spend based on the interest rates dropping. If you're someone who is looking to refinance your loans, this might actually, I don't know if this would be possibly like a decent video topic. But if you're someone who's thinking about refinancing your student loans, first of all, run the numbers on it. See if the minimum payments, I wouldn't do these just for points, but there are programs through SoFi, so we'll call it SoFi, where you can earn either JetBlue miles or Alaska miles for refinancing your loan. And just when I was playing around with it a little while ago, the rates don't change based on doing it just through their website or getting the miles. So depending on how much in debt student loans you have, you can refinance through SoFi, earn yourself enough miles. I mean, Alaska probably the one I would go to, but you can earn yourself a lot of miles depending on how much student loan debt you have. Kind of a silver lining, I guess, in those there. Let's see. Can you talk a bit about the Aspire card? What are the Hilton Resorts credit used for? So, as far as the Aspire card, I can. I mean, the earning rates are really good. You get the certificate, the weekend certificate every year, including the year you sign up for it. Um, you also have, if you spend so much money, things like $60,000, you get a second night. That's not worth doing. It's going to be getting the benefits as well for travel protections. Um, so like you have some there. The resort credits are just used as resorts. You have to go onto the website and look at what Hilton resorts it can be used at. But you can use it for like your paid stay, a spa, dinner, and if you can stack that with an Amex offer for it, you can get decent value from it. Personally, I don't use it, so I don't go out of my way to use it. But if you're someone who uses the credit, it could be very beneficial for you. You got a $500 sign-up bonus for doing so. $500 is not bad. I got a T-shirt. Yes, you heard that right. I got a Sophie T-shirt. There wasn't even a program like that when I did it. So I would have taken $500 over the T-shirt. Although I think I still have the T-shirt, and it's a very, very soft T-shirt. Please do a Sophie video. All right, I will add that one to the list, Aaron. I think that would be pretty good, just because student loans are out there. We paid off like close to $300,000 in student loan debt in like 5 or 6 years. So, that's definitely a burden for a lot of people. And if you can refinance and maybe earn some miles in the process, it could be very good for people. Okay. Braveheart says, how would you combine points and miles to book a business class trip to Tokyo, Chase, Ultimate Reward membership, or and United? So, very good question, Braveheart. If I'm looking to book a business class ticket over to Tokyo, I'm looking at Virgin Atlantic on ANA, and I'm not sure where you're located, East or West Coast, but business class, it's 90,000 points from the West Coast and 95,000 points from the East Coast to fly business class on ANA. For first class, it's 110,000. Oh, you're on the East Coast? Okay, so it'd be 195,000 points round trip on ANA business class, or 120,000 points round trip using Virgin Atlantic miles to fly first class ANA. And I know they just made some updates to their cabin, which look awesome. That's how I would do that. It's going to give you a really solid value for your points. Wait for a transfer bonus to come from American Express. Take full advantage of those, because that's going to be the best value for you there. That's what I would do that. Outside of that, United for a business class, it's 70,000 or 80,000 depending on which partner you're looking at. It's not terrible value because they don't pass on fuel surcharges, but I'm definitely doing ANA business or first class for 95 or 120,000 points round trip. What are my thoughts on Alaska and American breaking? What are you doing to me, YouTube? Breaking up with each other, first Delta, now this. I wonder if BA will be next. Well, funny thing, American just announced, I was seeing like they're going to be flying from Boston to London, and that's a British Airways route. So I don't know what American's doing. It's like Americans, it's like they're going through puberty. They have all these hormones going on. They just don't know what they're doing. They're just, they're causing problems. They're not, continuing relationships. It's just really, I don't know what they're doing right now. As a whole though, I think it hurts American more than I think it hurts Alaska, but it's terrible as a whole. Alaska miles are still very valuable. If American were to lose someone like a Japan Airlines or Cathay Pacific, that would be really bad for them. I know you can just start booking. You can now start booking like Cathay and Japan Airlines, all those online as opposed to calling, which it's mixed feelings for people. Some people like that, some people don't. So it really just depends on your outlook if you like ease or whatnot. So it would be nice if Alaska bought JetBlue. It wouldn't be terrible if that's the case, but JetBlue's just kind of doing their own thing. I'm curious to see what happens when they start flying to London. But they did devalue their Mint points not too long ago, maybe like six or so months ago, I think it was. So like JetBlue Mint now, like using your points for JetBlue Mint to transfer to JetBlue isn't the greatest, like 1 cent per point. So Alaska would be good, but you're not going to get like supersized value, I think, from your points that way. Let's see. I just canceled my Marriott card and switched to Hilton. Do you think I made the right move? Hmm. I'm not big on Marriott right now. There's just too many issues going on and just crazy amounts of stuff. I saw on Twitter someone had a tweet out there that Marriott, they booked certificates at a property 3 nights using certificates. Marriott decided after the fact the stay was over that they couldn't use the certificate, so they deducted the points from their account. Like, what? Like, that is just terrible customer service. I've just not been high on them. I think you're gonna get a better customer service experience from Hilton to begin with. The only thing Marriott has going for it, I think, as a program, in my opinion, is the fact I view Marriott points as airline points because you can transfer at that 3-to-1 ratio and get that bonus when you transfer them out. So that's really what I view those points as. I don't view those points really as hotel points. So what's going on, Reckless? How you doing, man? Let's see. You're welcome, Braveheart. Of course, man. Let's see. Alberto says, when booking with points, is it safer to transfer than book air or hotel? Does it even matter? So no, I always tell people I don't transfer points or recommending transferring points until you find space. Like with Hilton, for example, it might be like 10,000 points a night, depending on like some low end property. But it could be like I've seen rooms for like 600,000 points a night. So you want to see the space first. Same thing with airlines, because once you transfer those points, Alberto, there's no going back. I was over on David's Wise Fly channel. It was a couple months ago, and we took a call. And when he was doing these phone calls, and one woman transferred like 100,000 Singapore airline miles before looking at space, and it like broke my heart to hear that because it was like pigeonholed. So find the space first. I think we were able to. I did some looking. I was able to find stuff for, but like you want to make sure it's there. So I wouldn't say either one is safer because program devaluations happen all the time. They can happen at any time. So find that space, then move them, but leave them in that flexible currency bank until then. Let's see. Casey says, I've struggled to find decent award options from Boston to Asia. They're out there. Casey, what I would typically say, let's see, they're pretty expensive for redemption. So one thing you want to do if you're looking like, if it's 4 or 5 months away, a lot of those business seats might have already been taken up. A lot of these airlines release spaces like 331 days in advance. So your options are either like look when they're first released or wait until like it's a lot closer to booking. But from Boston, there are some decent spots. Also, what you could look to do is look to reposition Casey to New York. I know it's not the best option for you, but that might be worth looking as well. There are plenty of options out of JFK or Newark, but I would look at there too. Let's see. Aaron says, if I downgrade my Advantage card to the blue after 1 year, will they take my bonus away? Absolutely not. You get to keep that bonus if you downgrade it. Even if you canceled it, you get to keep your bonus. Like those are in your account. They're not taking those back from you. You're good. They have a similar aircraft now. Mint out of Seattle would be nice. I think a lot of people like that Mint David. It looks really nice. I've never flown it. Maybe one day I'll fly it, but I'm not big into premium cabins. I prefer to use my points for more flights. But if it's a super long haul flight, if I'm going to Asia, I'll probably suck it up and burn the miles. Unless I'm flying by myself. If I was going by myself, I would just suck it up and coach. But going with my little guy, I want business class for him to kind of lay out more. Let's see. Estop, I currently have the Arrival Plus. Do you think I should product change? Does it make sense for me to keep the $95 fee? I don't think so. Personally, keeping the Arrival Plus at the $95 fee, especially as we see other cards, that earn 2x on their purchases. The double cash is probably a better card now. If you're traveling internationally a lot, I guess it could be okay, but I think there's better cards out there for that international travel as a whole. But does it make sense? I don't think so for most people. And I'm going to go out on a limb to say that it's probably not worth it for you either. What's going on, Charles? Hey, David, how you doing? David from Travel Explorer Click is here. If you don't know who he is, he has a channel talking about credit cards and travel. If you haven't checked him out, check him out. He does some live streams and videos. Does live streams a couple times a week, and he has videos as well. So check him out. What's going on, David? Champ says, despite all of Marriott's recent BS, do you still hang on to Marriott card? My girlfriend brings it up the Bonvoy bond list. She only has one 524 slot left. I actually canceled my Marriott business card. Wasn't worth it to me. Not keeping it whatsoever. Um, some people do find value in that certificate, that 30 up to 35,000 point certificate or whatever. I think, you know, I would say if you're looking at Marriott or Hyatt, I personally think Hyatt is going to give you a better experience and maybe better value for that certificate. But the one thing Marriott does have going for it, there's a boatload of Marriotts all over the place. But me, I'm still Team Hyatt over Team Marriott. It's just I think you're gonna get a better experience as a whole. So I know you can get 100,000 points, but you should have her look at the award chart where you want to stay. 100,000 points might get you like like 2 nights. It might not necessarily be worth it. All right, so let's see. Charles says, do you think the Chase will eventually turn the unlimited card into 2 points per dollar? That's a great question, Charles, because the unlimited needs to do something after we see something, or the Chase needs to do something. I'm not sure if we'll see it on the unlimited side, which we could, or if they'll make an adjustment to the reserve and increase the annual fee in the process. There were rumors floating around a while back before Citi cut all their benefits that Chase was thinking about making the reserve 1.75 cents per point through the portal. I think those rumors have kind of died down. But if that's the case, I would probably say no at that point. But if they keep it the same, then maybe. I think they need to do something because membership rewards 2x on all non-bonus purchases, although it's a business card, super easy to get for people. And it just couples really well with their rotation. The other thing they need to do, they need to refresh that Chase Sapphire Preferred. It's a bonus card. You get the bonus and you scrap it the next year for something different. Let's see. Solid liquid evaluations galore in 2019 for Marriott. I agree to transfer Marriott points over to Alaska or other airline programs to get that. Absolutely. Marriott points are totally airline miles in my book. Solid liquid. I agree. Let's see. I feel like Barclays as a whole is a garbage bank. Yeah, I think every bank has their pros and cons. I mean, we could go down the rabbit hole of all of them. They all have done some shady crap. They all have their pros and cons. I think like Barclay, I love the Uber card. It's great. I think the Wyndham card from Barclay is not a terrible card. You got the Aviator Red, so you got some good stuff there. They flopped terribly with that Barclay Premier card. They had a lot of promise, but then the stupid exchange rate of 1.7 to 1 and 1.4 to 1. Who thought of that in the meeting? I've always wondered that. Someone sitting under me, it's great. 1.4 to 1. People will love that. What? Most people aren't going to do the general math for that. It was just stupid. It was gonna fail on arrival. Let's see. Berkeley has a 624 rule. They do have a rule as well, Joseph, as the 624 rule. It was at one point just on their cards, but I've seen it roll out to others as well. I've seen rumors of it. So if you've opened similarly to Chase's 524, you've had 6 cards in the last 24 months, Barclays won't approve you, but Barclays is also a bit tougher to begin with. So if you've been super aggressive, odds are they're not going to approve you anyways. They're just not that kind of bank. Let's see. Waller, if you could keep one no-fee credit card and one annual fee card, which would you pick? So I think anybody who watches me know the fee card I would keep, definitely the fee card I would keep is going to be my Altitude Reserve. It's just so good. It's just it's just a good card. As far as no fee, oh man, that's a good one. It would either be my USA Limitless at 2.5% cash back, or maybe my Uber card, because while the earning rate isn't great, it does have great cell phone protection as a whole. So those would probably be the cards I would keep. Those are there. Good question though. All right. Aside from earning the sign-up bonus, how effective is two-player with a spouse to share the same? Let's see. Aside from earning player 2, I think it's really important because what you can do then, Alberto, is differentiate cards and really separate out the applications. So if you're looking for bonuses, which are great, but I tell people also to look beyond those bonuses because banks tighten up, things change. I'm someone too, like as the game is changing, like I'm applying for fewer cards and becoming more selective. So my long-term benefit is definitely really important for me. But it's important, like because we'll use these cards for example. You can apply for the Uber card. Your wife can apply for like the City Double Cash. Now you have two good earning cards, but you each have reduced the application hard pull on your account. So I think it's really important outside of those because you can really spread out the hard pulls and spread out the applications, and you can maximize them that way. So I think it is. I think it is important for long-term play. It's good there. Let's say 6 months ago, my wife says to me, "You guys screwed my brains," but our Atlanta trip, free vacation, deep sea fishing, all for free. She's like, make sure you watch those crazy guys, the videos learn. That's awesome. I think reckless people definitely, I think we're crazy in doing this until they get to reap the benefits. Like it's crazy, it's a scam, it's not worth the time to you're on a trip where you're like, I'm in the seat, I paid $5 for it. That guy over there, you probably, someone else paid full price for this ticket, and we're going on the super heavily discounted. Because I've said it before, it's not free travel, it's super heavily discounted, so it's pretty fantastic, to do that. Let's see. Any chances Chase makes a CSP competitive with the gold? Danny, I don't know if they are, but I think they need to. I think they need to add a grocery multiplier. I think they need to add some sort of gas multiplier. Do something to it, because just having it be like this little stepbrother to the reserve is not helping it. I think anybody tells you get the preferred for the bonus. You either downgrade to the unlimited or you upgrade to the reserve the year after. Like, there's no benefit. Like the one thing American Express does, while we can hate on the fact they charge a bunch of annual fees, they do very good by wanting you to have the gold card, the platinum card for the benefits of it, maybe this green card, this mysterious green card if it ever comes out. Like their ecosystem is built to really complement, and people are willing to pay the fees. If Chase just looked at that, they could probably charge a little bit more for the preferred if they were to make it a decent card. But they're not. They're just keeping it like it's this weird, like little, like, side card. Let's see. Let's see. Icarus pays the only fee for his Amazon Prime because that indirect fee for Amazon Prime. That's a good card though for people. Let's see. Jay Gamble, have you ever targeted specific cards just to pull off certain trips? Absolutely. I've opened American Express card, American Airline cards just for specific redemptions in the mid to late game. Definitely wouldn't burn a 524 slot for it if you are starting off. But I do that now. I opened up, the Avianca card for me and my wife because we're going to burn those next year. So I do open cards now for specific needs for certain trips if I need them. Upcoming Wallet meetup is when? Oh, that's a good question, Aaron. When I'm traveling in the States again, I will look to have a meetup, unless anybody is like in Amsterdam or so in the next couple of weeks when we leave. But I mean, outside of that, when I do some more domestic traveling, which might be later, we might do something this winter or potentially early next year. So, but then again, I'm not too far from Boston. So like I might do something in Boston next time I'm down there for a Boston meetup if people are in the Boston area. Let's see. Joseph says if Chase makes changes to the Sapphire, I'd most likely wait 2 years to get their card. I just don't see the hype about Chase. See, I agree about the $300 travel credit's nice, but if you're just shifting your spend on it, I think like you're still paying the money. You just give it back to you. It is nice, but I think it's not I don't think it's like a real benefit, but it's just nice for them to shift spend on it. But it would be great for them to do it, and it might be worth it for people to shift it around if that's the case. All right, let's see. Zach says, traveling to Japan, I would, and we would do advice on, traveling to Japan, and I would probably like your advice on using MR or UR on points for hotels. What's the cheapest transfer partner? Zach, there are Hyatts in the area. I haven't been to Tokyo, but it's on my list. But I know plenty of people who stay at the Hyatts there are pretty good value. Look at the travel portals. If you have been to Tokyo, let Zach know some good options for you. Airbnb, I have friends that went there. The Airbnb, they said it was actually pretty inexpensive as well. So take a look at those options. Let's see. $7,000 business class seats will make a believer out of any spouse. I think that'll make a believer out of anyone solid liquid. I completely agree with you. Let's let's see. While we're doing the timeshare pitch for 3 nights at the Holiday Inn Resort in Orlando, have you done that before? What do you think about those? I don't really get targeted for those, SDOT. I would love to get more targeted those, but I would do it if I was in the area. It's going to be a timeshare pitch. They're going to probably pressure you into it. You just say no and you walk out. Like, you know what I mean? You just keep saying no. If you're in those areas, some of those are super good pricing. One I got years ago, I couldn't take advantage of it, but it was like $300 for like 4 nights or 5 nights in Hawaii, but just the scheduling couldn't work out for us, like for a timeshare presentation. You can do it. I think it's a great, inexpensive way to travel. They're definitely not that bad. Let's see. Apparently, my wife and I are pigeonholed ourselves into Delta. Sky Miles are their miles are outrageous. How hard is it to transfer to a partner airline? So, Brent, you have Delta miles. They're in Delta. You can't transfer them out to anybody. You can book them on partner airlines. So if you go to Delta, you can book right on their website. You'll be able to book like a, Aeroflot, or I think you'll even see Korean on there. But they're stuck in Delta. Going forward, what you should be looking to do, look at Flying Blue and look at Virgin Atlantic. They're going to give you a better value for your points for flying Delta Airlines. And I think you're going to be happier that way. But with Delta Sky Miles, they're Sky Miles. Like you're pretty much bound to that program. Meet up in Kansas City. If I am in Kansas City, Joseph, I will definitely let you know. That would be pretty awesome. It would be great to meet you too. Cheap airline from San Francisco to Maui. I think it falls into the 13,000 Avios range for you, John. So I would probably look to use membership rewards. We just ended I think yesterday. Yep, yesterday ended the transfer bonus. But if you can get a transfer bonus for membership rewards, I think the distance falls into the 13,000 range. That's a good option for you. 13,000 miles, Avios, one way per person, plus like $5.60. That's going to be the cheapest option for you out that way. Let's see. How many cards do you have in the last 24 months? I think the last 24 months I have like 7 or 8 cards. Before that, I had like 15 or 17 cards. I've just really slowed down in the last couple of years just because they're tightening up, and I had enough points in my account to just kind of coast and just kind of be more selective. Come to Chicago, Puerto Rico. Man, we were in Chicago a few years back. I loved Chicago. Like, Chicago was awesome. Puerto Rico's on my list as well. If we are down that way, I will definitely reach out and let you guys know on that one. Let's see. Timeshare the Vegas pub. It was a $100 Visa gift card, dining, $90. Right? Yeah, if you can take advantage of those, they're pretty awesome. Let's see. Charles says, I go to the grocery store every week. I use my Amex Gold Card. I buy a $100 Amazon gift card because my wife and I spend about $300 a month on Amazon stuff. Think about getting the Amazon gift card and using the gold benefits way more. Yeah, that $100, getting the Forex is awesome. I'm curious though. I remember maybe they're not reporting the level 3 data, but I'm curious if you're still earning rewards on gift cards, because I remember a while back, it wasn't a while back, it was only like a handful of weeks ago, that American Express was going to stop awarding points on gift card purchases. Now, I don't know if they're looking more at Visa gift cards and letting these ones slide under the radar. But I'm curious, let me know. Like, if you haven't checked, just check your statements, make sure you're still earning 4x with that, because that could really hurt a lot of people if you're not earning those rewards. Best use of the $200 travel credit or the airline credit for American Express is going to be someone who can, either pay for baggage, maybe pay for an upgrade, lounge access. The gift card loophole's dead, so that I think that really hurts the value in it, but that's what I would look to do there. Let's see. All right, that's awesome, Charles. If you're getting value from that and you are getting those points, that's the case. Keep doing that. I would keep an eye out for it though. If that Amex rat team is any indication, then I wouldn't be shocked if they come out at some point in time. So, but keep an eye on that. I'm happy you're getting your points though. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Appreciate the kind words. Let's see. Jay Gamble, can you give an example on how to do a proper downgrade? Like when to downgrade before or after annual fee to not lose out? Okay. So good example. We can just use any card. Let's go ahead and say, we'll say the Chase Sapphire Reserve, just because you have it and you realize you're not getting the benefit from it anymore, just for fun. I typically wait till the annual fee post. Okay. And when the annual fee post, whatever, it doesn't matter what card you have. It could be the Chase card, which they don't typically give a lot of retention offers, but we'll just say we're going to go with it either way. You're going to call Chase and you're going to say, hey, my annual fee posted. trying to decide if I want to pay the annual fee on this card again, and you're going to look for a retention offer. Now, I've gotten retention offers before from pretty much all the banks. They've kind of dwindled down for myself. I didn't get one on my gold card, which is why I no longer have it, but call for those retention offers. And then if they say, well, you know what, there's no retention offer on your account, then okay, now you have two options. You can either cancel the card or you can downgrade. At this point, your points are in your account. They're not going to claw back your points. American Express will if you try to cancel before the 12-month mark. So wait till that annual fee post. It's beyond that. If you reduce it or even cancel it, your points in your account, you're good. And that's really how you do it. I definitely wait till after it posts, though. I don't do it before it posts. One, I don't want to ruin any relationships with a bank. And two, it's given me better opportunities for that retention offer because now the bank's up against the clock if I want to keep that card or not. Because they need to make it worth it for me. And by that point in time, if you don't know already if you're keeping it or not, that's when you have to decide. I typically check Reddit and Flyer Talk to see as well if there's any retention offers out there. All right, I'll do a couple more questions, and I'm gonna head out just because I think my wife just got home from work, so I'm gonna hang out with her for a bit. I'll do a couple more questions though. Let's see. American Express offers have been good. I love American Express offers. Although when people say they use them to offset annual fees, I don't understand the logic at times, because they're on the no-fee credit cards. But I see what people are saying, but you can get them on the no-fee credit cards too. Let's see. Live streams are awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate the kind words. I love interacting with everyone here and taking questions and doing these. They're fun to do, kind of just interact with everyone. Let's see. Let's see, going paying partial with the gift card and paying with your Amex card. That's awesome, Aaron, that it's still working on paying like for part of the flight when it's lower numbers. That's great. You're still getting 4x with groceries. That's great, Alberto. Let's see. Okay, I'll take a couple more. Let's see. Can I downgrade after using my $300 credit a couple months into the second year? Get a prorated $450 or only $150? Yeah. So pretty much. Well, it's every. Yeah. So what you can do is you can use your card and then downgrade it afterwards. So it's every card member year now instead of calendar year. So it does reset. It's a little bit harder to use, but you can use it and downgrade. Absolutely. People still do that. All right. Do you think SkyMiles is good in international business class? Fahed, no, I don't think SkyMiles are good for international business class. They charge a ton of miles. Look for Virgin Atlantic or Flying Blue. They're going to give you potentially a better rate and a better value for your points over Delta SkyMiles. Occasionally, you might get a decent deal, but Virgin Atlantic, Flying Blue, those are going to be better options for you for Delta. A while back, I did a video on that, showing people like one of my award booking shows or one of my award booking videos, showing people how to utilize that. So I think it's in the playlist of award booking demonstrations, and I think I show you in there. Flash miles. Ben, all right. All right, I'll take two more questions, then I'm gonna head out. So, but I thank everyone for showing up. I do appreciate it. Let's see. Why is U.S. Bank Altitude Reserve not talked about more? The mobile payment seems all right. Awesome. So, I think it doesn't get a lot of push because of the fact, like, one, Altitude, like, it's well, first, thank you, Charles, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. If I come out to California, I'll definitely let you know. I really appreciate the super chat, man. I agree, Solid Liquid. Lack of transfer partners. The benefits on the card aren't as strong as like the Reserve or the Platinum card. But for the mobile payment, if you're someone who can do a lot of mobile payments and travels coach, and you look for like those cheap fares, I think it's a great card. If you're like, but you're just not getting those benefits. And as Solid Liquid said, those lack of transfer partners are big. No Hyatt, no Hilton, no Delta, no anybody, even if they're not great. Like, there's just no access to transfer partners. Now, if they added transfer partners, then that card's going to jump up a lot of people's list. But then there's probably going to be some devaluations on the card as well. But let's say that. All right. All right, everyone. Do babies? This will be the last question for Icarus. From Icarus, this will be the last one I take. Do babies fly free? So under 2 Icarus, they fly free in the United States. So domestically, they get like lap children, no cost. International depends on the program, but typically for cash fares, it's 10% of the adult ticket. Some programs like Airline or Virgin Atlantic will actually charge you miles as opposed to cash, which is a far better value. I'm hoping to do a video with someone, a collaboration with someone on this to talk about the programs that are best for families like that, because they could be a really good value as a whole. So yeah, so domestically up until age 2 as a lap child. If not, you got to pay for a seat for them. Same thing internationally, 10% of the cost, either cash or 10% is typically the miles cost. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you know somebody who can benefit from the video, feel free to share with them. If you like learn about credit cards, points, miles, cashback, or just flat out traveling for less, consider hitting the subscribe button down below. And I will see you all on Friday. Safe travels. Take care, everyone.